See, England again destroyed by the pace of Holding, Roberts, Garner and Croft, with only Jeff Boycott offering any real...
To make an unexpected U-turn over Germany. The error...
A school playground. Hardly ideal preparation for a test match, but it was a case of any port in a storm, and it was good to remember what a cricket bat felt like. And that may be all the cricket they get to see in Georgetown, because the cricket ground, like the rest of this city, is below sea level, which means water like this has nowhere to drain, it has to evaporate. And they reckon it needs 3 days of bright sunshine to do that.
It's all our expenses, all the hotels, the flights and everything. And they don't make much profit anyhow, because the grounds are so small and they don't charge enough because the people aren't very rich. So they'll lose a packet if we go home, and I'm sure there'll be pressure on both Jamaica and Guyana to keep quiet on it.
You think the West Indian cricketing authorities will try to smooth the way?
Well, I think they must. It's so inconsistent, you see. Take the Guyanese themselves, like Clive Lloyd and Rowan Canai. They've played in England for years with all the South Africans, Proctor and all these people like Barlow. And remember that it's not just Jackman. You see, in this team at the moment, Boycott has played out there. I think you've seen him out there playing. We played the Wanderers. Bairstow's trained up at Kimberley. He's coached them. Peter Williams.
There's certainly a number of them have
Peter Williams
have played out there.
That's Derek Robbins.
Right, that's fairly well established, I think.
And why didn't they think of it all before the Guyanese? They were thinking about this. I think perhaps they hadn't realised it was happening, and they just heard it from this Jamaican newspaper or something.
Well, we'll have to wait and see if the England team packs its bags altogether. Meanwhile, they must be more homesick than ever. They've lost their second one-day international against the West Indies by 6 wickets, and as you can see, both their batsmen and their bowlers failed miserably. Peter, altogether...
England players, because they've been playing in South Africa. The team is now on its way to Barbados, although it's still far from clear that Robin Jackman and possibly some other players will be allowed to play there or in Jamaica at the end of the tour. England called off the second test, due to begin in Guyana tomorrow, after the government there ordered Jackman to leave. Our sports correspondent Tony Francis reports from Guyana.
Most of the Guyanese I spoke to were ashamed of their country's action, but the government-controlled newspaper naturally blamed the English. The controversial Jackman, it said. But he didn't look especially controversial, more like a perfectly ordinary chap enjoying his breakfast. It was the last feast in Georgetown, and Jackman seemed determined to enjoy it. The players were happy to be leaving. Chris Old's T-shirt summed up the feeling on a tour that had gone from bad to worse. Since none of the players were allowed by the manager to broadcast their thoughts, I asked Alan Smith how they were taking it.
The morale of the team is exceptionally good. I mean, they're very cheerful, and the general sense of humour still exists. They want to play cricket. That's what they've come out here for. They're test cricketers. They want to face up to the challenge posed by the West Indians on the field. In Robin's case, well, as far as the team's concerned, no one apportions one shred of blame or guilt upon Robin. He's a member of the side. All the team are delighted that he has an opportunity quite late in his career to do this sort of thing, and they hope that he will have the opportunity to compete for a test place just the same as the rest of them.
And just to round off this miserable week for cricket with a supreme irony, the torrential rain has returned with a vengeance, and the second test almost certainly would have been washed out in any case. Tony Francis.
This agreement asks Commonwealth governments vigorously to combat the evil of apartheid.
That could well decide the future of the tour. The England party flew to Barbados after Guyana's expulsion of Robin Jackman for his sporting links with South Africa. David Cass saw how they reacted to this latest blow.
Just like the rest of this tour, the team's exit from Guyana had its problems. The main one this time was that the plane taking them out was more than 2 hours late. By the time they left, their spirits were the lowest they've been for 6 weeks. They did at least arrive in Barbados to a warm welcome and were allowed in without any problems. The government here, though, has not yet decided its position on the Jackman affair, so today the players are having a rest day and waiting to hear the decision. The feeling among cricket lovers in Barbados is strong against Guyana because of its actions, but there could be more problems ahead.
May I ask you how optimistic you are about the test match going on here?
Very difficult to answer, Don. There's a tremendous feeling for cricket among the heads of governments. They realize how important it is to the territories, to tourism, to our relations with the United Kingdom, and I'm sure the heads of government would want to do nothing to harm that relationship. I think they will make every effort to try and see that the tour will go on if it is at all possible.
The other militant West Indies nation, Jamaica, now knows that other members of the England party have coached or played in South Africa since 1977, when the Gleneagles Agreement was signed. That could easily mean that it will not only be Robin Jackman who is thoroughly researched if the rest of the tour goes ahead.
Back tomorrow. Bloody good job, too.
What exactly?
4 days ago. We still await the Jamaicans, and the problem there is that it's local government elections day on Jamaica today. And Foreign Minister Shearer is unlikely to leave his island before all possible canvassing has been completed. The feeling at present, though, in Barbados among political observers and cricket watchers alike is that there's a very good chance that the tour will now go ahead.
As far as the self-interest is concerned, one, there is cricket, and cricket in the West Indies is a very big thing. It's almost followed here with a religious fervour. The West Indies cricket team is the only really unified aspect of West Indian life, and it's brought great pride to West Indians. It's brought great honour to West Indians, and to have this now disbanded, which may be the possibility if the tour were not to go ahead, would be a consideration which would have to weigh very heavily on the foreign ministers who meet here.
If the tour does continue, there's a good chance that Robin Jackman, whose contact with South Africa started the affair, will play in the next match, due to start on Saturday. The two other main strike bowlers are out of action. Graham Dilley has yet to recover from the severe bruise he got when hit on the toe by Joel Garner 5 days ago, and Chris Old can only turn his arm over gently. The pinched nerve in his left shoulder stubbornly refuses to respond to treatment.
This was a collapse. Just look what happened to England today. They were